Ms. Marvel is the latest Marvel series to be released on Disney+. It introduces us to the character of Kamala Khan, and like many of the other MCU series, this is a mixture of both good things and bad things. But unfortunately for this show, it fell a little bit more on the bad side for me. This is one that I didn't really find myself enjoying. I didn't really find myself disappointed by it either, though, because I didn't have any expectations going in. I knew nothing of the character, I knew nothing of the story or anything that was going to be happening. I wasn't particularly thrilled with the trailers, so I went in kind of not sure what to expect. And so I wasn't disappointed, but again, I didn't particularly love it either. My issue with this series is that nothing really stands out as being really good. There's not elements of it that I thought, wow, that was super neat. The story is okay, but it's not one that kept me super intrigued. The action is okay, but it really doesn't stand out, especially in comparison to other Marvel series. The characters were fine. I did enjoy the character of Kamala Khan. She was probably my favorite thing about the series. I thought that she was interesting, and I look forward to seeing her in future MCU projects. But the supporting cast around her, for the most part, I didn't really feel connected to any of those characters, with the one exception potentially being her father, who I thought had some nice moments throughout the series. One of the things that I liked about the character of Kamala Khan is I liked that the series really focused on learning about her and kind of experiencing her world and getting to understand things there, and they didn't leave out anything. You know, they show a little bit of school, they even show some of her religion, and so that was really nice. I liked that they included that kind of stuff. It really helped us to understand that character, and it's what helped to make her the best part of the show. I wasn't, as I said, I didn't love the stories. I wasn't a fan of the conflicts involved in this. There's kind of two different conflicts. You have stuff going on with the Jinn, and then you have stuff going on with damage control, and the two are really pretty much separated. You kind of go after one in the first little bit, and then the final episode deals with the other. And I thought both of them were okay, but they didn't really stand out as anything special. The action to go along with it wasn't anything that I really thought was all that impressive, and I really wasn't a huge fan of the finale. There were some good moments in it, but overall it fell kind of flat for me, and it just didn't feel like it was super high stakes or that it really had anything significant to it. So that was disappointing. Something that I did really enjoy about this show, it's not something that goes for the entire season, but towards the beginning, like the first 2 episodes or so, I thought they had a really unique kind of editing style, and the way that they would show Kamala Khan and kind of show what's going on inside of her head and the things that she's thinking, and just the way that they edited stuff together. I thought it was unique, I thought it was smooth, I thought it worked really well, and then just kind of disappears for like the rest of the season, and it's kind of your typical Marvel style there, and then it kind of comes back in the season finale. So it was disappointing to see that they had something so good in that first little bit, and then they lost it, and then they tried to reclaim it at the end, and it just didn't give enough for me to really care so much about this season. So overall, this is the type of show that I don't really recommend in the case of it being a fantastic show that I personally really loved. But I do recommend, if you are an MCU fan and you like to get the whole story of the MCU and you are preparing to see the movies and whatnot that are going to be coming later, you may want to see what happens in this series. So I recommend it on that side of things. But this probably isn't one that I'm personally going to revisit all that often, if I ever do. And so, not the biggest fan of it. Not a bad show, but definitely nothing that's really great. It's kind of middle of the road for me, and for that purpose, I'm going to go ahead and give this one a C. So, those are my thoughts on Ms. Marvel.
What does it feel like?
I always thought I wanted this kind of life. I never imagined any of this.
So with this show, Marvel is really aiming towards younger viewership. You have Kamala Khan herself is a teenager, and so it's kind of aiming for that age range, that age group, which is not too far off from my age group. I'm only just a little bit older than a teenager, but it aims for that, and so for that reason, it's really pretty clean. It actually does really well on that, especially even in comparison to other Marvel films, and Marvel is by no means a super inappropriate or bad series, but this one does a really good job at keeping things very limited. You do have your action in here, but it's your pretty typical superhero action. It's not violent, it's not bloody. There is some parts that maybe are a little bit on the creepier side on occasion, but really it's nothing major, and it's just your fun superhero action. You have swearing on occasion in this, but even the swearing in this show is extremely mild, and it is very spread out. You don't really catch onto it a lot while you're watching it, and that's really the only things they have to look out for in this one. There's a little bit of swearing and superhero action. It's a show meant for families. It's a show meant to be watched by younger viewers, and for that reason it's going to get a pretty good rating on the cleanliness. I'm going to go ahead and give it an A-.
You save one life, you save the world.
Cosmic.
So anyways guys, I found Ms. Marvel to be an okay MCU show. I know a lot of people really loved it, but it really didn't deliver for me. I didn't find the story or a lot of the characters or the conflicts to be nearly as interesting as many of their other series, and so for me it was not exactly a terrible one, but it just was pretty standard, and it didn't give me anything that I thought was super great. But what did you guys think? Let me know down in the comments. I would love to hear from you. Please let me know what other movies and shows coming you would like to see me review. If you liked this video, please be sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you all in the next one.